All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will call this meeting to order. Can I get a motion, please, that the agenda for the June 15th, 2021 regular meeting of council be adopted as presented? Councillor Chouinard will make that motion. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion carried. Can I get a motion, please, that the minutes of the June 1st, 2021 regular meeting of council be adopted as presented? Councillor Wilkinson will make that motion. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor? Motion carried. We have no public hearings, no delegations, no reading of bylaws. Can I get a motion, please, that council approve the tax exemption for Roll 3375 and apply such exemption to the 2021 taxes on a prorated basis? Councillor Byer will make that motion, and we have Mr. Passy with us here this evening. We did talk about this last week at committee, but go ahead, Mr. Passy.
Good evening. Nothing much new to add to this. I know there was an email that went out just to clarify that this would be a reduction for the new location and an increase on the past location, as they would no longer have a tax exempt activity going on in their locale. But I believe council was made aware of that throughout the week.
All right, thank you, Mr. Passy. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Motion carried. Can I get a motion, please, that council cancel the tax exemption for Rule 4096 and apply such cancellations to the 2021 taxes on a prorated basis? Councillor Bevan will make that motion. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, all those in favor? Motion carried. Can I get a motion, please, that council approve Councillor Troy Sorensen and Councillor Janet Wilkinson's attendance at the Recycling Council of Alberta's 2021 conference through the Looking Glass from September 29th to October 1st, 2021 in Banff? Councillor Sorensen will make that motion. Would you like to speak to that, Councillor Sorensen?
Sure. Both Councillor Wilkinson and I are on the West Yellowhead Regional Waste Management Authority, which is trying desperately to run recycling programs in the region, and they're strongly looking at organics for the region. So there's a variety of reasons that council should send representatives to this conference. With ongoing EPA news from the province, there could be a lot of interesting news presented. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councillor Wilkinson, would you like to add anything?
Yes, to the chair. I have attended this conference before as part of the recycling committee here in Edson, and I really found it very, very interesting. It's on a provincial level. And again, as Councillor Sorensen said, we really have to look into doing something with our recycling. We can't just keep on building and building and building. So I'm really hoping that we can come up with some initiative from things we learn there. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Councillor Wilkinson. Go ahead, Councillor Byer.
Thanks, through the chair to Councillor Sorensen or Councillor Wilkinson. I'm appreciative that you guys are going to this. I think it's one of the reasons why Edson has been doing such a good job on the recycling and diverting waste from the landfill. My question though to you is, are any other members of the Waste Management Authority attending this? I'm hopeful that they are.
Councillor Sorensen or Councillor Wilkinson?
At the current time, I don't know if they are or not. We are meeting tomorrow. I could certainly ask and check out and get back to you if you would like, Crystal. Councillor Byer, sorry.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments, or concerns? I'm in full support. This is a council strategic priority on our environmental stewardship, and it's really important that we are at the table as a part of these discussions, hearing what's being said and also presenting our points of view on these things. So I'm happy to support this motion. If there's no other further questions, I will call the question. All those in favor? Motion carried. Can I get a motion, please, that council appoint Mike Passy as returning officer for the 2021 municipal election and have Chief Administrative Officer serve as the substitute returning officer? And Councillor Wilkinson will make that motion, and I'll hand things over to CEO Beveridge to give us an update.
Certainly, through the chair to the rest of council. So with the resignation of our current returning officer, we needed to fill the role of returning officer for the upcoming election on October 18th. And we have asked Mike Passy, our corporate services manager, to step into that role as well. I'll be assisting as well. Our interns will also be included in the team. So it's a great opportunity for them to learn the process and go through that. So that's all I have to add. And unless Mike would like to include anything else to speak it.
All right, thank you, CEO Beveridge. Any other questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion carried. Congratulations, Mr. Passy. Can I get a motion, please? That council appoint Jason Assange as the Subdivision and Development Appeal Board Clerk effective June 30th, 2021. Councillor Byer will make that motion. CEO Beveridge, want to give us an update on this?
Thank you. Through the chair to council, based on the same reasoning, we do need to fill this role. It's required that we have an SDAB clerk. So as effective June 30th, we will transition this role to Jason Assange, and training will be provided for him as well.
All right, thank you. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Councillor Curry.
Through the chair to CEO Beveridge, just asking with this, like knowing that there is training provided, but will there be additional support provided in-house from administration, just knowing this is a fairly technical position if anything does come through?
CEO Beveridge.
Thank you. Absolutely, there is internal support that will be provided to him.
Perfect. Thank you.
Any other questions, comments, or concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor? Motion carried. Can I get a motion, please? The council direct administration to move forward with the Recreation Energy Conservation Program grant applications administered through the Municipal Climate Change Action Center to fund the following project taking place in the Griffiths Park building: engineering study, HVAC upgrades, lighting upgrades. Councillor Chouinard will make that motion, and we do have our FCSS manager of community development here, Tanya Byers. Tanya, give us an update.
Hi, there's really nothing to update, just here if anyone has questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We did talk about this last week at committee. Anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns? All right, well, I just want to thank you, Ms. Byers, for all your work that you put into this project, and looking forward to hopefully seeing a successful grant application. Be nice to have that project finally complete. I'll call the question. All those in favor? Motion carried. Thank you, Ms. Byers.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. No information items, no sundry items, council committee reports. We are going back to June 2nd, and we will start with Councillor Chouinard.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Mayor. I found my papers. So on June 8th, we had the emergency management meeting, and as well committee of the whole. On June 11th, we had our Trans-Canada Yellowhead AGM. What we did is we did a short AGM due to COVID, and we're hoping later in summer with restrictions being lifted, we'll be able to meet in person. I'm still the Alberta rep, so we're getting good representation, and we hope sometime in July or August we'll have a proper AGM. And that's it for my report.
Thank you, Councillor Chouinard. Councillor Wilkinson.
Thank you. On June 8th, I was also at the Protective Services and the Committee of the Whole. On the 10th, we had an Evergreen Foundation meeting. It was really very interesting because we're trying to move ahead on the Wildwood project and the one in Grand Cache on the co-ops. And our member from Parkland County, they deal with Meridian Housing Authority. And she really stressed on their, like, our responsibility as a board. If we use any of the 2.25 million that the province gave us to start the Grand Cache project, if we use any of that and something comes that we can't finish it, we are personally responsible for that. So we had to make little changes, and we're not touching that money until we know for sure it's going to be a go, because we have Wildwood to do. With all that in mind, I asked Kristen Chambers, our CAO, to come and report to council. So I think she's requesting a spot. I do give you some reports, but probably not as extensive as may be needed. So all the municipalities are going to get a little update on all of our projects. They're all very ambitious, which is wonderful, and we need to do them for the seniors. But I did keep cautioning there's only so much money out there. So just a heads up that we will be hearing the proper thing from our CAO. So thank you.
All right, thank you. Just Councillor Wilkinson, on that point, I would be interested to know when Ms. Chambers comes to speak to us on the requisition that Evergreens has for our region. How does that compare to other authorities? I know it's maybe not comparing apples to apples because different regions have different needs. But certainly that portion has been growing, and there's been a lot of forward momentum on building, which is needed, as you said, but there's also the overall cost to taxpayers as well we got to keep in mind. So
yes, and as lovely as everything is, it is subsidized housing, and if it isn't meeting the costs, and our operational costs are high, maybe there has to be changes made. So what a good question. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we will go to Councillor Bevan.
On the 8th emergency management meeting, on the 9th, council with the mayor and Councillor Curry was a lemonade tasting for Community Futures, which there was quite a bit of a taste there on some of their lemonade. I mean, it was exciting. Just too bad there was COVID. I would love to see the kids be able to come up and present their lemonade to us, and that would have been a lot better. But unfortunately, with COVID, we couldn't do it and that. So, but we'll get a chance to talk to them on June 19th at the lemonade stands and evaluate them there. And on the 10th, I had an RRC meeting, and that is it.
All right, thank you, Councillor Bevan. Next, Councillor Curry.
Also had the emergency management meeting on the 8th and the COW meeting on the 8th, and then Community Futures lemonade testing on the 9th. Just a shout out reminder to all the councillors to get your coins ready and your taste buds ready, and you have stands to visit on the 19th. There is going to be a map. I will make sure that you guys all get a copy of that map to go enjoy your lemonade this Saturday.
All right, thank you. Councillor Beyer.
Thank you. I had quite an extensive past couple of weeks. While in quarantine, I was able to tack on a few things. On June 3rd, I had an Edson Library Board Policy Committee meeting. June 7th, I had a youth council meeting, and we had the municipal energy coordinator, Brendan Riom, come and do a presentation to the youth. They were, I think, pretty excited about that, and they asked a lot of really great questions. And he had a great presentation as well. And applications are also open for the youth council for this fall. So if you know of any youth that would be interested in joining, the applications are already available. And on June 8th, I had the another Edson Library Board Policy Committee meeting. Also on June 8th, the Emergency Management Advisory Committee meeting, followed by the Committee of the Whole meeting. June 9th, another Edson Library Board Library Building Committee meeting. We're looking at the scope of work for the some plans for the library. And June 15th, another Edson Library Board Committee meeting. So we're trying to wrap up a policy to present to our board tomorrow. So it's quite exciting. And the meeting tonight.
All right, thank you, Councillor Beyer. Councillor Sorensen.
Right, June 7th, I had Youth Council with Councillor Beyer and the Mayor. June 8th, I had the Emergency Management Advisory Committee and the Committee of the Whole meeting. And June 9th, I had a Chamber of Commerce meeting. They are going to try to do the summer festival, but they're kind of waiting on stage 3 announcement. So they're going to pretty much going to have to take whatever dates they can get when that stage is announced. They are proceeding with the Christmas party. They have booked dueling pianos, so that should be great. They are talking about their business awards night. They think it'll probably happen the same way it did last year, with kind of a limited attendance. And they are breaking for the summer, so the next meeting is in September. And that is my report.
All right, thank you, Councillor Sorensen. For myself, on June 7th, CO Beveridge and I met with Dr. Glenn Feltham, who is the interim president of GPRC. He visited our community, actually spent a considerable amount of time in the community. So discussed our concerns on GPRC's midnight move out of Edson without any advanced warning, and how unfortunate it was that we learned about the change in service level through a newspaper, considering that we were building our relationship with them at the time. So he certainly heard that concern and is working towards rebuilding GPRC in our community and looking what that means. So we talked about engagement and community needs and some of the changes going on to GPRC. He's only in that role for an interim basis, but they will be sending out surveys and engaging with the community, which is important because post-secondary is so important, especially as we see with COVID. There's more and more technology being used in remote learning. So I appreciated the opportunity to talk with him. On June 7th as well, we had our youth council meeting. Things are kind of wrapping up. We are going to be having a year-end party get together here in the beginning of July, and we'll send an invite to all of council, since council did not get a chance to interact much with everything that's been going on this past year. And I just have to say the youth council that we had this year, just fantastic. They did a lot of volunteering in our community, and despite the challenges, were engaged as much as they could be. June 8th, I participated in Junior Achievement Day. June 8th, the Emergency Management Advisory Committee, along with COW, and then the lemonade testing and tasting on the 9th. And there was some high caliber lemonade for sure. I still haven't checked my blood sugar since then, so hopefully I'll be fine and good to go for the 19th, and look forward to seeing everybody out there. And that is my report. With that, we have no financial questions from media and public regarding items from this council meeting. Mr. Bethji.
Yes, Your Worship, we have Adrian Tate. Go ahead, Adrian.
Good evening. I just have one quick question. For the Recycling Council conference, I'm wondering if the possible changes to the household hazardous waste program is on the agenda. Does anybody know?
Councillor Sorensen or Councillor Wilkinson?
I haven't looked at that. I just can't imagine that it wouldn't be, because that certainly seems to be a big push even here locally at the Edson District Recycle Council.
Okay, thank you.
That's it, Adrian?
Yes, thanks.
All right, thank you very much. Can I get a motion, please, that we go into a closed meeting session regarding landfill expansion project update under FOIP 21.1 and 24.1? Councillor Curry, all those in favor? Motion carried. All right, I think we have everybody here. Thanks, everyone. Can I get a motion, please, for adjournment? Councillor Chenard, all those in favor? Motion carried. See you on Lemonade Day.
Night.
Good night.